Have everyone's attention, please. The date today is January 25th, 2016. It's Monday and it's 5:30 p.m. This is the meeting of the Paris City Council. I'm going to call the meeting to order. We will start with the invocations by Jean Anderson, followed by Pledge of Allegiance by Ms. Lancaster. I'd request everyone to please stand.
May we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege we have to live in this country, Father, with the freedoms that we have. We thank you, Father, for the opportunity to elect our representatives, our council people. And we just ask, Father, that you would guide and direct them tonight. Father, we thank you that we can meet as we're meeting tonight, Father, and as citizens can come and, Father, make their interests known. We just pray that you'd guide and direct the meeting and that all might go in accordance to your will. For these things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4 is the Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city, council members, or employees, as well as individual personnel appeals, are not appropriate for the Citizens Forum. The Citizens Forum is now open. If you want to address the council, please come forward, write your name and address for the record.
My name is Sybil Colson. I'm here on the agenda of 14 and 15. As my comments will take longer than 2 minutes, I request that I be allowed to speak at that time.
Sure. Mr. Gladfelter?
After reviewing the Tri-State Metals versus Paris of Texas lawsuit, I have come to the conclusion that you as a council have a responsibility to ask for a criminal or civil investigation for conflict of interest on the part of Judge Baird, a former mayor of this city who's presiding over this case. And you need to investigate Barney Bray, who is a planning and zoning board member who had first sold this land to Tri-State while on that board. I believe a suspension of Mr. Bray's position as a councilman on planning and zoning should happen until the lawsuit ends. Also, we've had other situations here which you've ignored, and I won't name any details, but I'll just say you need to start protecting the financial interests of the taxpayers. You also must engage in recovering monies that have disappeared in past situations. This is your responsibility. This is not a luxury. You must do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gladfelter. Anyone else wanting to address the council? If there's nobody else wanting to address the council, the Citizens Forum is now closed. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Anyone wanting to take any agenda item out of the consent agenda? Mr. Pickle?
No, sir.
Dr. Clifford?
No, sir.
Mr. Plata?
No, sir.
Mr. Jenkins?
No, sir.
Ms. Lancaster?
No, sir.
I'll take a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item carries. Next, we move on to the regular agenda.
Dr. Hashmi, can I request that we move up number 16 agenda item into the top, or to number 13, and move everything down? We've got some people here from Texarkana that need to get back.
I'll second it. All in favor? Anyone opposed? No. Item number 16 is receive presentation from United Way regarding a fixed route transit system in Paris.
Well, as they're coming up, that April Carl is here with United Way. We have Chris Brown as the Executive Director of ATCOG and Nancy Hohen, who is in charge of transportation. And they've worked real hard on this. And I'll save the rest of my comments for at the end.
Please.
Okay, my name's April Carl. I'm the director of United Way. I'm here to talk about our public transportation. Transportation is identified as one of the greatest needs in our community. It's a quality of life issue. If you live on the west side of town, you do not own a vehicle or have access to a vehicle, how do you get groceries? As well as access to employment, access to medical care. Those are all hindered if you don't have transportation in our community. Our current mode of transportation or public transportation is an on-demand system. So where you call up, you get an appointment, they'll come pick you up, they'll take you to the bank, they'll take you to your doctor, they'll take you wherever you need to the bank, wherever you need to go, and then they'll take you home. That's one trip. The way the current system is set up, that's about 2,000 trips per month. That equals out to about 15,000 trips per year. We're here to introduce our fixed route transportation system, which is a system set up where we have bus stops where the buses will stop there every 30 minutes on a regular basis, 30 to 60 minutes. That will take our trips per year up to 80,000, and it can get somebody from West Paris over to Walmart and back. It's really important, or to your medical appointments. United Way is involved in this because about 2 years ago that we got an invitation to a community meeting to talk about this fixed route, that there had been a study and there's a potential to bring this system to Paris. That meeting, it was held in like a lobby of the transportation office. They had about 6 seats. Over 35 people showed up for that initial meeting. We've worked with the transportation, it's with TxDOT for the past couple years, kind of just helping to make introductions and bringing people to the table that need to talk about this issue. We're at the step where we're getting ready to move forward on the fixed route, and I would like to introduce Chris Brown. He is Executive Director of Architects Council of Governments in Texarkana. They'll tell you all about it, and thank you.
Mayor, council members, thank you for your time this evening. I'm going to give you a little quick, brief introduction to Architects Council of Governments. A lot of people have heard of us, but a lot of people don't know that the range that we actually cover. But what we are is actually a political subdivision of the state. Our area was assigned by the governor back in 1965, 66, in that ballpark, and we've been serving these 9 counties in East Texas plus 1 in Miller County, Arkansas, since about 67, 68. We do cover Lamar County down to Delta and Hopkins, and then all the way east to Texarkana. You'll see a brochure there at your seat that we're able to put there. It just kind of gives you an idea of what all we do cover, but the main thing I wanted to point out, we are an organization. Y'all are a member. All of our cities and counties in our region are members, and we're governed by a board of elected officials. Councilman Pickle is on our executive committee. You also have 2 other members that are on our full board. We have about 90 people that are on the full board, so the executive committee does meet monthly. Also on that executive committee, long-term time members, Judge Superville and Brady Fisher have also represented Lamar County and the city of Paris for quite some time. So I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit about who we are, about the stability of our organization. You see the TRAX buses that run around the city of Paris and through Lamar County. That's what we're talking about this evening, is trying to expand that service. Just to give you an idea of the broad range we cover, one of the other aspects we do is your 911 system. If you pick up your phone and dial 911, we're responsible for the contracts and working with the maintenance and the equipment within your dispatch center to make sure those calls get to that dispatcher. So you'll see there's a wide variety of what we cover. But tonight I want to introduce Nancy Hohen. She's our transportation manager. She, along with a lot of help from April and Councilman Pickle, have really kind of helped us understand Paris and get a lot better idea of what y'all are needing here as far as the fixed route system. So I'll introduce Nancy.
Thank
you very much, and really appreciate the opportunity to come before the board this evening. It's nice, I guess, we've got a full house because one of the goals was to get the word out. So we have been working in earnest, as April said, for the last year and a half, 2 years, trying to move forward the need that was elevated by the community for a fixed route in this town. We operate as a rural transit district, which gives us access to funds that are available through the FTA and through then TxDOT. And through that, about a year ago, we stepped forward and requested the entire amount of money that had been allocated to the TxDOT Paris district. We were awarded the entire amount that we requested, and that was to bring forward the infrastructure improvements to implement this route. We were able to do that in large part because that was an 80-20 match, and the 20% match was generously offered to be provided by the city in the form of in-kind services through the engineering department, public works department. So through that, that brought about $300,000 to the community to purchase shelters, and put the curb cuts in, the bus stop signs. The position that we're in now, and the goal is to try to launch this system by the beginning of April. We have developed the route maps, which are up on the board, and you have them at your places. There was great care with a lot of stakeholders at the table to make sure that the routes were passing not only the places of origin where you would expect people that are transit dependent to live, whether that's senior housing, affordable housing, some of the multifamily parts of the community, and then also to cover the destinations, shopping, medical, health and human service agencies, government buildings. So with that plan of 4 separate routes, we would have 2 buses running. They would head off to each do a route. They would meet back at the transfer station. People would be able to transfer from one bus to another route to get where they needed to be. The goal of this, and what the request had been that came out of the original plan, was to operate a system for 12 hours a day, 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, which would give people access to being able to use that service to get to work, to get to appointments that may be early in the morning, to get to classes, say at the junior college. So what we're intending to do at this point is apply for the next round of grants with the state to ask for the extra operating dollars that will be necessary to expand from the current demand response service that we operate to being able to run this system 12 hours a day. So with that being said, we had included a budget in your packet that not only showed the current grant that we are operating under this year, but also the projected operating costs for the fixed route. We have also structured a sponsorship program, which you have a copy in your program, as well as some illustrations of what the advertising sponsorship could look like, both on the vehicles as well as on the bus stop shelters. So the idea being that as we approach different organizations and businesses in the community to ask for assistance with this next grant, that we would have something in return that would be of value for them. The operating fund grants from the state are a 50-50 match. So if we apply for $100,000, we need $100,000 of local match. So far, we're really happy to say, standing here tonight, that United Way has stepped up with a $25,000 commitment. The Paris Regional Medical Center has confirmed a $25,000 commitment, as has Paris Junior College. So we are still looking for participation from the community, and we really wanted to start getting the word out there to all of you, as well as the community at large, of what we are working towards here. So.
Thank you, Ms. Nancy.
Are there any questions? And let me add one thing. I have already turned it over to Janice for our next council meeting. I'm going to request that we, that the city commit $25,000 per year for the next 3 years to help get this thing up and running. I don't think that there's probably anything more important that we've done or that we can do as a council, then put this transportation system in. I've talked to the school districts as well as PJC with employers, and you can't imagine the enthusiastic response that we've gotten with this thing. And I think it's just too important for us not to be part of it and to help make this thing happen. The sooner the better.
Thank you. I just have one question. Your buses are, I take it, ADA compliant and wheelchair
Yes.
compliant?
Yes. Every vehicle that we operate is fully ADA compliant. All of our drivers are certified as to how to transport people either with disabilities or that are in wheelchairs, yes.
Anyone has any other questions on this item? Okay. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate your help.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Moving back onto the agenda, item number 13, receive update from the city manager on the status of Paris Warehouse 107 tax abatement, discuss and possibly take action. This item was placed by Dr. Clifford. Dr. Clifford, do you have any?
I just wanted Mr. Godwin to explain to us what's going on, and there was something in the manager's report I wanted him to discuss as well.
Okay. We've had a little bit of time getting the tax rate committee together with holidays and so forth. We have met, I guess, twice now, and kind of, well, exactly where we are now is still, the math is still not done, I guess, for lack of a better term. If you'll recall, the tax abatement was supposed to begin January of 2005 and go through December of 2011. 2005, the building was not finished. 2012 and 13 were also tacked on, so those should not have been. Those 2 years were abated that should not have been abated, evidently, unless there's something I don't know. And then the first year, the issue with that is that the tax abatement agreement said the first year's base amount would be fixed at I think it was like $1.3 million, and they were actually charged $3 million. So that's an error by someone back in 2005, 2006 in the favor of HWH. I did get an email from Jerry Patton, the chief appraiser, this morning with some numbers, and I've just been looking at those, but I don't want to talk about those because I might not be understanding them exactly right, but a lot of spreadsheets. And then the final thing, which was a little disturbing, was the email we received from Steve Gilbert recently, where he was making an effort to tie the Paris Warehouse 107 meetings, numbers, negotiations, whatever you want to call them, fixing it, with some trail easements that the city needs over on the Trail to Paris extension.
Any questions?
Any more? What was being tied to it? How was that?
He suggested, and again, this was from Steve Gilbert, but he suggested that he wanted to make that all part of one thing, that once the tax abatement issue was settled, then they would be willing to grant those easements to the city.
What's your opinion about that?
Well, they don't have anything to do with each other.
Okay. Mr. Pickle, anything?
No, sir.
Mr. Pilata?
Nothing.
Mr. Jenkins? Ms. Lancaster?
They don't have anything to do with each other. You're going to trade land for taxes you haven't paid? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, they haven't made any kind of proposal. We're just in the process of about ready to start construction on that project. As you know, the contract was approved in December by the council. And kind of here at the 11th hour, so to speak, we got that email from Mr. Gilbert.
Well, I find that a rather strange suggestion of, can I trade some of my property for taxes I owe?
No, ma'am.
I didn't think so. I'm disturbed by that. I really am. I don't think that should ever happen.
I certainly agree.
I do have a question,
Yes,
and
sir.
that is that what happens to the trail? Does the trail work start, or does it?
Well, we have to have that
Want to
easement.
come on?
We have
The
to
young
have,
man wants to come.
we have to have,
Yeah. This young man tried to sit with me over here, so where did he go? All right, go
We do
ahead.
have to have the easement. There are two different pieces that we need easements for to complete that trail. If we don't get the part that's farthest to the east, we won't be able to start the trail. If we don't get the piece that's farthest to the west, we won't be able to finish the trail. Timing is important because we have a Texas Parks and Wildlife Department grant that's dependent on that trail being built by a certain time. And so any holdups we have can cost us a grant.
I had one other
Like
thing on the
blackmail to
same
me.
topic. The council voted to 100% enforce the contract.
Yes, sir.
And has anybody addressed the fact that all required documents have not been filed? Has anybody addressed that, or are you going to talk about that?
Well, they've been told that, and as you know, they said they have them, but I don't have them.
They were required to be filed within 60 days, or the contract wasn't valid, is what I understood.
Correct.
That's the 100% enforcement I'd like to have discussed.
Okay.
Any further discussion on this item? No.
I'm
Yep, go ahead.
sorry, it just sounds like blackmail to me. I'm very upset about this.
Ms. Lancaster, if you can speak in the mic, because I
I
think
know,
people complaining.
I have some problems since I had the accident. It just appears to me to be a form of blackmail, and I'm just very opposed to that kind of action. It's disturbed me.
Anything further?
I would just mention that that came from an employee, not from anyone that signed those contracts.
Yes, sir. That's what we're hopeful of.
Okay.
That would be better.
All right, we'll move to the next. Any further discussion on this before we move to the next item? No. Okay. Item number 14 and 15, I'm going to first take a motion to untable this because we had tabled it last time, correct?
Correct.
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, so I'll read the two items first of all. Item number 14 is receive public input, discuss and act on resolution in support of LW Development LLC's application to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs and proposed development of Saddlebrook Estates located at 4660 Pine Mill Road and approving LW Development LLC's request for contribution for development of Saddlebrook Estate. Ma'am, you had something to say, so please come on up first. Ms. Carlson, right? Sybil
Colson.
Colson, sorry.
Yes, I'm here today to
Can you
speak.
please bring the mic close to you?
Okay. Everybody's taller than I am, so. I'm here to talk about the housing projects which seriously affect both the citizens of the city of Paris and of the city of Reno. My office is at 819 Lamar Avenue. I live in Pine Valley, and I own property probably in every council district in the city. The issues over these complexes, there are two off of Pine Mill Road and Lamar Avenue. I understand there's a third one floating around at 42nd Street and Sunrise. The issue is whether these complexes, and that's what they are, is apartment complexes, should be built there. These sites are not suitable for these complexes. This is an area of single-family homes, many with large lots. The projects would place high-density housing in areas of low-density resident-owned home. One project calls for 40 to 50 3- to 4-bedroom homes to be placed in a small area in a quiet neighborhood of single-family homes. The other site calls for apartment units, 80 of them, to be built off of Lamar Avenue. They are not suitable sites. The topography of the area, specifically, there's a hill draining down into a pond which would cause flooding into adjoining sites. Portions of the property are probably in the FEMA floodplains, and if you look at these brochures, you notice there's a lot of concrete, there's not much grass, and the water is going to end up going on adjacent property because out there it is hilly. Also, there are high voltage electrical transmission lines that go through the area, especially off of Pine Mill Road. And the Texas Department of Community Housing and Affairs, that is not an appropriate site. Secondly, all this development would adversely affect the infrastructure of the area. The current infrastructure could not handle the utilities needed for all of these rental units. The city would have to make significant improvements in this area. And one of the main issues is the roadways. Pine Mill Road would not be capable of handling the traffic from all of these complexes. And Lamar Avenue, I'm sorry, is basically a death trap. In the evenings, I can hear the sirens go down Lamar, and I know somebody's had another wreck. Also, I'll point out the size of these units are very small. An efficiency apartment is 500 square feet, one bedroom is 600 square feet, two bedroom is 800 square feet, three bedroom is 1,000 square feet, and four bedrooms is 1,200 square feet. And what I read in the regulations, the cost of building these would only be or that they would have to expend would be $19,000 to $25,000 per unit. And I don't think that's going to be a very attractive or practical. Nor do I see the reason for having to place this on Lamar Avenue. It's a high-traffic, congested roadway. There's plenty of other suitable sites in town. And quite frankly, if the city keeps developing the east side and Lamar Avenue to the detriment of the west side, they may very well end up in a lawsuit. The city of Dallas recently had a lawsuit over housing and disparate impact, which went to the U.S. Supreme Court. These developments are basically large apartment complexes. As most of you know, apartment complexes don't age very well. Just think about the status of most of the apartment complexes in this town. There are a few well-maintained complexes, but most don't do that. Also, apartment complexes are sold frequently when the tax grants, the tax cuts, and benefits run out. Casa Bonita and Westgate are examples of where this has occurred. My suggestion is, why don't we fill in the vacant lots here in town? And I point out the city does not lack affordable housing options. Currently, there are 10 housing complexes which provide affordable housing in Paris. 2 on North Main, 2 on Clarksville Street, 1 on Bonham Street, 1 on Cherry Street, and 1 on Washington Street. These include the Shagoda Apartments, while they're not subsidized, offer more reasonably priced housing for seniors. There are 285 Section 8 housing vouchers that Paris Housing Authority has. The total affordable units is 873. I'm feeling that it's probably closer to 1,000 because I could not find out from ATCOG how many Section 8 vouchers they have. Each ATCOG and the Housing Authority have Section 8 vouchers. And that adds up to 873 units, and if you add ATCOG, you're probably close to 1,000 units. And these don't include the apartment complexes in Reno or any that may exist in Roxton or Deport. As to the issue of on-site management, at least one company has said they don't plan to have any. Let me tell you, as a landlord, that is not a good idea. You need to be there constantly to supervise the property because tenants tend to move others in, they tend not to call for repairs and other things. And these developers do not have a vested interest or the best interest of the community at heart. As many of the developers that showed up, I figured out there must be a lot of money. The developers are seeking tax credits of $700,000 and $800,000. When the tax benefits or any grants end, then what will happen? Some of the best advice I give my clients is, if something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Secondly, if somebody doesn't want a lawyer or public scrutiny as to an item, I think you really better take a closer look at it. The parents, citizens, and the citizens of the city of Reno have built and maintained their homes for many years in this area. This will have been for naught. Remember, this is government for the people and by the people, not for out-of-town developers. Please do not approve this resolution. It's not a good site. There are infrastructure problems which cost the city drainage problems, deterioration of the units when there are no tax benefits or grants left. They will not be managed locally. And if the housing is an issue of concern to the city council, then they need to do something and not rely on out-of-town developers. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who wants to speak on this item? Dr. Mater?
I'm Carl Lewis. I live at 743 Pine Valley Drive, and I'm here to speak for myself and my family, but I'm also here to speak. Several folks in the Pine Valley subdivision have asked me to speak on their behalf tonight also. So could I start off by just getting a show of hands of the people that are here from residents from the Pine Valley subdivision this evening? Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Hashmi, council members, and city manager for calling this public hearing to allow citizen input. We do appreciate it. In the last 10 years or so, Paris has made great strides in improving the city by enacting ordinances to dispose of abandoned motor vehicles, rid itself of dilapidated structures, beautifying the downtown areas, and preserving our historical buildings. And this has been a win-win for all the citizens, and the councils are to be commended for the actions. However, in the issue before us this evening, these proposals for lower-income government-subsidized housing, if allowed, would, in our opinion, have an adverse impact on part of our community. And if we harm one part of our community to attempt to assist another, then we're not making progress. And we're here to ask you to reject this resolution of support by voting no. Some of our concerns are, if all of the proposed developments were allowed, you would have 3 government-subsidized rental complexes located within an approximately 1/2 a mile radius within each other, all located between 46 Northeast and the western boundary of Mansfield Road. And this would be injecting several hundred people and vehicles within this area. In our opinion, this would bring forth the high probability of lowering or devaluating our existing property values in the surrounding neighborhoods and properties. We believe it would also discourage other potential new private-owned residential or other development in the area due to the saturation of government-subsidized rental homes and apartments. We believe we would see a significant and noticeably higher traffic volume in the areas due to the influx of several hundred additional renters. And also, although initially the developments and housing will be new, later there could be changes in management and ownership. And as the city manager stated, such rental units tend to be useful for shorter periods of time than owner-occupied homes. If the need exists for these types of properties, then we would certainly support solutions in locations where this type of housing could be made available to those in need without bringing an injurious or adverse impact on existing privately owned homes and properties. Again, we want to thank you for your consideration, and we appreciate you giving us this opportunity to speak here tonight very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, I delivered a letter from Darrell Bull, another resident who was not able to be here tonight because a family member passed away.
He made it.
Mr. Price?
How you doing, sir? How you doing, council? My name is James Bradley, with 1230 Shiloh Street in Paris, Texas. I said, let's build Westwood. Anything going between Bad Boy on the west side of the loop, north side of the loop, between Bottom Street and Main Street, this building's got plenty of land, we want to give it away. You know, there's land over there, got land just sitting there. We need housing over on the west side of Paris, not the east side. That's rent that. They don't want you over there. Come over, we want you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Greg Motter, and I'm a property owner of 2 properties off of Pine Mill Road. I just wanted to say that I think concentrating all lower income affordable housing in one site is a failed social engineering experiment. I think a more modern way to do it would be to disperse throughout all the neighborhoods, and this has been shown to be more successful. The houses themselves get a benefit, they're not stigmatized. The children get a benefit, they get to rub elbows with all strata, and the adults, I think, end up with more dignity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Freeland?
This doesn't directly affect me, but just for FYI for you, we went through the same thing while we were on the council during my tenure. We offered this same group where the Casa Bonita apartments were taken down, and we cleaned that area, and they refused at that time. So I think that's something you need to look into. So thank you.
Mr. Bowles, you want to speak? Okay.
Heard that laugh in the background. I'm Darrell Bull, 711 Pine Valley Drive, and I appreciate the opportunity. You do have a written letter from me. I did not think I would make it back from a family funeral in time. I would only want to point out 2 things.
As the city manager shared with you on a memo on December the 29th, just paraphrasing an status of the issue, one of the points he makes, I think was great, is the possible downside might be that although these are relatively nice, good-sized homes, they will be rental units whose useful lives are usually shorter than user-occupied homes. Rents will vary depending on family unit and income. As Mr. Mock pointed out when he spoke here on the 11th, in some of their other developments, they use infill and dilapidated homes for many of their developments in the other places that they've done them in. I believe he said Ardmore, Medill, Durant, and Hugo. I would just echo what's been stated. There are other opportunities for placing such the properties as this. I am the eldest, maybe that's not the right word, I'm the longest living resident in the Pine Valley neighborhood. I'll be there 30 years come October. Certainly, this has been my home for 60 years, and it will continue to be. But I appreciate the service that each of you give our community, not only for the city of Paris, you serve those of us in Reno as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Dr. Hashmi, Council. I'm a comparative newcomer to this area. We've lived here for 2 years.
So your name?
My name is Wallace Elby.
Thank you.
One of the things that we looked at, and we looked at it from the standpoint of people that have lived around this good country of ours quite a long time, retired from the military and federal civil service. My point in this is that I was also in the real estate business for some time. In looking at your beautiful city, and it has some of the most beautiful areas, and that's why we selected this area, you have an opportunity to go through your city with whatever system that you'd elect to have, but look at what is here. What is here is a mix of beautiful homes. And you also have, unfortunately, quite large areas that homes are not quite so beautiful. I would suggest that you go through your city and look at those areas that can be improved. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of government money invested in this proposed project. Why not use that money to improve what is here? It will increase your tax base in a very, very constructive way. Going ahead with the project as proposed, I've seen too many of them, and I'm sorry, they are edifices to failure because there's no oversight. Without oversight, you're going to be at a big loss. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone who wants to speak in favor of it? Mr. Lewis?
I hadn't planned on speaking, but I feel like I've got so many friends here in opposition that I need to get up and explain my position on this. I appreciate the opportunity to address the council. Full disclosure, I am one of the property owners of the site at 4800 Lamar. I don't know what occurred to lump both these projects together. I think that's doing this project a little bit of a disservice, but nevertheless, they are two totally different projects. Our site actually fronts on Lamar Avenue, and there's only one residential house near it that I'm aware of that's a dilapidated rental property. My thoughts, having been in the real estate business and having pride in the projects I've been involved in, and I can name them, every one that's happened in this county, and I think you'd all agree they're high quality projects with good intentions for the city in mind. In this, when I was contacted by the Garretts originally on this project, my first thought was, well, it's not really a Section 8 project, low income necessarily, it's a tax credit project. And once I dug into that. I mean, really the things that appeal to me about this project, one, it's a father and son team that I met with in person, went through their inventory of projects they've done, that they still own all the units and have a lot of pride in them. And if you look at the brochure and the quality of the apartments they have, they don't look like low-income projects. And I've had an opportunity to be involved in a number of apartments outside of Paris, mainly in the Austin area, and they build a quality project that I think is something to be proud of. Secondly, they own them long-term. They've owned these, I think the majority of their projects, 10 to 15 years. That's appealing. The way this thing works, simply put, is the tax credits allow them to lower their basis in the property and rent them at, in theory, 60%, give or take, of market rents. Well, if you look at new construction costs today to build a traditional apartment complex like I've looked at doing, the rents you can get in Paris, Texas won't justify it. So really, if you look and why has a new project not been built here in 25 years, it's because there's not the tenant base to support it. This is a way, in my mind, to build a quality project at an apartment. I beg to differ with the lady that spoke earlier on if it's a qualified site or not. I've looked at a lot of apartment sites. People want highway or freeway visibility when they build apartments, and that's what this is. It doesn't interfere with the adjoining neighborhood. The item 14 is a different story, in my opinion. It does adjoin a neighborhood, and like I say, after looking into it, I really like the father-son team that's involved. I believe what they say, and if they're blowing smoke up my skirt, I'm sorry, but I think it's a worthy project that warrants your consideration. Thank you.
Mr. Lewis, thank you, but we were only discussing item 14. We had untabled both the items, but we were discussing item 14. That's the only item we were presenting to begin with.
14, 15 up here.
It may show it, but the item that I read was item 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right. We'll get to item 15 in just a second. Is there anybody else who wants to speak in favor or against item number 14? No. You do?
My name is Don Pryor, and my wife and I own property at 4879 Pine Mill Road, which is directly across the road from this proposed development. I think the majority of the folks here tonight are here about item 14. I do support those who've spoken earlier in opposition to this development. My experience has been in the past, I've had rental property. In rental property, my experience has been the renters always feel it's their responsibility to see how often and how much damage they can cause to a property. So I'm adamantly opposed to it, as I feel most people here in this room are. In addition, I have 4 little donkeys that live there, and I think that this would be in opposition to their peace and tranquility. Thank you.
If there's nobody wanting to speak for or against, I'd just like to have a show of hands of how many people here are opposed to it. And how many people on item 14 are in support of it? Okay. All right. Thank you. So with that said, on item 14, Mr. Pickle, any questions?
No, I think that a good solution has been introduced, and I mentioned it to some people that called me about the possibility of some other properties within the city that would better suit this project.
Dr. Clifford?
I have no further comment on it.
Mr. Plata?
I have no comment, no.
Mr. Jenkins?
I have no comments right now.
Ms. Lancaster?
I think there are a lot of properties within the city limits of Paris that would easily accommodate this particular project and would certainly help that district. So I'm for looking at other areas.
Ma'am, you want to say something?
Yes, I do. I'm sorry. My name is Laura Myrick, and I also am here with the developer, LW Development. I am out of Austin, Texas, and I am working with them on this development. There were a couple of items that were brought up. Well, actually, there were more than a couple of items that were brought up that I would like to be able to address if possible.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. So one of the things that were talked about earlier is that this is a very different development. We are a single-family development that is being proposed out there at 4660 Pine Mill Road. It is approximately 49 units. However, it may vary. It may be 45 to 49. We are proposing 3-bedroom and 4-bedroom units. They are around 1,400 to 1,600 square feet. And we did bring, we also shared with John the floor plans and pictures of what these units will look like. They are not stackable units that are going to be next to a residential development. We are proposing a residential development that is single family to go along with the surrounding areas. We also have received a recent appraisal of these units, and they are right now at $147,000 is what they are being appraised for. Probably one of the things that I would like to say about this program is that it is through the Internal Revenue Service. We've heard a lot of HUD, we've heard a lot of Section 8, we've heard a lot of low-income housing. One of the things that I think that this program has going for it is that it is administered through the Internal Revenue Service. I don't know about you, but I do know that most people don't like to get on the wrong side of the Internal Revenue Service. This is a program that is highly used throughout the nation. It was enacted in 1986 by Ronald Reagan, and it is, if not the best vehicle out there for workforce housing. This was designed for middle-class America. People that could not afford to live in maybe market developments, but made too much money to qualify for government housing. So this is what we came up with in 1986, and it's been going strong. In fact, Congress, together with Democrats, Republicans, everyone understand the value of this program, and they voted to keep the 9% tax credit program in, and at 9% where you could actually underwrite at it. So a couple of things that were brought up is our property value is going to go down. There have been numerous studies since the inception of this program that dispute that. It is a myth. On the contrary, it actually brings up some property values, and more so when it's mixed incomes, meaning that you have market with low-income housing tax credits in there. So there's studies from Chicago, from Wisconsin, from John Marshall, various, and I will be happy to provide them. So there's no benefit to Paris, that they will deteriorate rapidly. Perhaps under HUD programs, that is something that will happen, but not with the Internal Revenue Service. You have the Internal Revenue Service who is looking at these developments via the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, and it is a very stringent monitoring process. How do I know this? I worked for the TDHCA for 12 years, and I was a monitor for the Low-Income Housing Tax Credit Program. So you can say that I was the eyes and the ears of all of the portfolio here in Texas for the Internal Revenue Service. I understand what it takes to have a high-performing property, and most of these properties, if not just about all of them, are pretty high-performing. So deteriorating rapidly, it's not going to happen because the Internal Revenue Service is there, but the other thing is that you have an investor that's there who's keeping an eye out on their credits. So they want to make sure that their investment is protected. So you have the service, you have the investor, you have the lender, you have everyone that is looking at these properties to ensure that it is above reproach. The traffic issue, I can certainly understand that there might be some concern there, but there are things that we can do, and as the developer would be happy to work with the city to ensure that we get that problem resolved. Existing infrastructure, that it would adversely impact the infrastructure. We would work with our engineers and with the city to ensure that not only does it meet code, that it exceeds code. We have actually talked about putting in a lift station to ensure that the units that will be built there will have their own system. So we feel that not having adequate utilities isn't really quite there because we're willing to do what we need to make the utilities adequate and to ensure that we work with the city to meet and exceed all codes. Drainage issue, I'm not sure. I was out there on the property walking it today. Again, we would work with our engineering folks to ensure that that issue was not a problem. Let's see, the unusual, it's not unusual. I understand that it's not unusual for complexes to change hands. With this program, it is. Perhaps in a market developer, they could easily sell to one another in a short amount of time. With credits, you can't do that. You have a land use restriction agreement that is tied to the land, and the service expects a minimum 15-year compliance period from you. Then there is an additional 15-year extended use period that the state puts on there, and then there's an additional 5. So you actually have 35 years that you will be in this development. And we want to be part of the community. We're fine with that development being there, and we're fine being a neighbor here and being part of the community for that length of time. We have not just an investment that's here that's monetary, but we want to be here with the community and make an investment in the community. We want to be part of it. We want to grow with you, and we want to contribute to its growth. So those are a couple of things that I wanted to bring up. Someone brought up the lawsuit. I remember the lawsuit. It was filed when I was an employee at TDHCA. One of the things that the Supreme Court has ruled that it agreed with is that tax credit monies, along with other federal monies, should go toward areas where there are what they call high opportunity areas. High opportunity areas are defined as high incomes, low poverty rates, and good schools. If you look at the QAP and there was someone that was talking like they read the QAP, I would advise them to go back and look at opportunity index points, educational points, and underserved points. Those are the areas where these things were brought up. And this is why those issues are now in the QAP, which is the document that is used to determine how credits will be awarded. The lawsuit played a huge part of what's in the QAP today and how we score these applications, how we rank, and how they get awarded. So Dallas is going through its problems, but a lot of it is because they are concentrating them in certain areas. I wanted to talk about the investments to Paris. We are bringing a $7 to $10 million investment. We are creating jobs, the jobs that will be here during construction and the permanent jobs afterwards. We will be paying property taxes. We want to be a good neighbor, and we are going to generate revenue. Again, we want to grow with you and be part of this community, and we feel that this is a chance for us to do it with you. And I understand that there's concern, but there's always concern when you're not quite sure of what's going on. As far as the management, we have on-site management. Again, it is a huge part of what the Internal Revenue Service is looking at and what your lender and what your investor is looking at. We're going to have on-site folks, we're going to have maintenance folks, we're going to make sure that these units are up to par. We are not a father and son outfit, but we are a couple of folks that have done this program for many years. And in the state of Oklahoma, we have done it. It's been very successful, and we would love to show you what that product looks like. I just wanted to come up and talk about some of the things that were brought up today and how it's not quite as it seems. And I will be happy to entertain any question about tenant criteria, about how all this works, since I used to be on the regulatory side, if you will. So if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to address them.
Thank you very
Thank
much. I think everyone's spoken. I've not said anything. First of all, I don't think, ma'am, anybody is opposed to it. I think it's the location that people have some concerns about. I don't think anybody is opposed to the development. Personally, I've always encouraged development of property in Paris, and it increases their tax base. But by the same token, I represent the voice of my district. And throughout this weekend, I've heard nothing but opposition from people in my district. So I'm personally going to make a motion that this not be granted on item number 14, that the resolution may not be granted.
Second.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Item number 15.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, I do appreciate your time. I do appreciate everyone listening to me, and I do appreciate having the opportunity to be heard by council and by everyone here. So,
And as I said, I don't think the opposition is to the development of the property.
I understand
But anyway,
that.
let me get
Yes.
to the next item. Thank
Yes,
you.
but thank you.
Item number 15, receive public input, discuss and act on resolution in support of GS Paris Family LP's application to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, TDHCA, and the proposed development of a new apartment complex located at 4800 Lamar Avenue and approving State Street Housing's LP's request for a contribution for development of a new apartment complex. Do any of you want to speak again, or you have spoken? Can I take it that you've all spoken? More or less the same, or does anyone have any other feelings to represent, because this is a different kind of development?
Hello, my name's Lisa Gandy, and we are owners of 4820 Lamar Avenue and also the property directly beside it. My biggest concern with the apartment complex being where it's located would be right across the street from where our facility is that already the traffic is so dangerous as it is in front of our gym. It is a nightmare getting in and out of our gym safely. We've had a number of accidents at that location. I have brought that up to TxDOT. I have been told that if they did a survey, it would only probably increase the speed because people coming in, especially from the east, are really kind of flying in there. You have big trucks that are with the major road that they're trying to form, the 4-lane road between Gainesville and Texarkana. We got a lot of traffic with big trucks coming through there. I think that it is not the best location for the apartments because of this. You're looking at not only the dangers of adding another complex across, trying to cross traffic in such a busy, fast place, but you're also looking at children that are going to be children of these people in these apartments. Where are they going to play? Can they throw a ball if it goes in the road? What are they going to do? And I have to look at the protection of the children coming in and out of our facility. We have had, like I said, a number of wrecks. One in particular that really stands out is a car careened across our parking lot, barely missing a child and her parent. So I just think it's a dangerous place to put an apartment complex. I think there probably could be a much better one. So thank you for hearing me.
Anybody else wanting to speak? Mr. Lewis, this is your item, so you want to speak again or spoken?
I guess I can't disagree with, freeway traffic is dangerous. At the same time, I think we all desire to see that developed into some type of use all along 82 East. I mean, Walmart's pretty busy as well, and they manage to get people in and out. And I'm sure by the design of the apartment complex, they'd have playground areas and whatnot. But probably two quick things I left off that appeal to me is how they qualify the occupants. They do criminal background checks, and Mr. Garrett may have mentioned this in his presentation, that nobody can live there without criminal background checks cleared. Also, if they have any students or kids that are student age, they have to be enrolled in school, and they monitor that. So those were a couple of things that appeal to me. I mean, we typically don't sell property, and when we do, I mean, we want to make sure it's for the benefit of the area. Is it going to be perfect without problems or things to resolve? No, I don't know any that are, but I feel very comfortable with these guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. All right, Mr. Pickle?
Well, I think this project is much better suited for where it is going than the other one. Obviously, I would rather see it developed into some sort of retail, but I don't own the property, and if I own the property, it might be a different situation. So.
Dr. Clifford?
No comment.
Meaning that you are still sticking to the original comments, or you don't have any comment to make? Are you okay or not okay?
I tend to be opposed to this.
Okay. Mr. Pilata?
I myself, I think
there are plenty of apartment complexes already in this parish, and although I guess I am opposed to it. I really don't think we need another, especially there.
Mr. Jenkins?
I'm on the same boat. I mean, kind of opposed to it. It's kind of high area where a lot of wrecks are already happening. So,
Ms. Lancaster?
I'm concerned about the location.
And I'm going, before I make any comments, I'd like to have again a show of hands, how many people support and how many oppose it. So people in support of this, people in opposition of this. Okay. I'm going to again make a motion that be denied, but I would request the builders if they wouldn't mind coming back to the city and maybe we could help them out find another location. So I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Motion carries.
Mayor, if I could make just one quick comment. So that nobody's surprised that's here, a couple of you mentioned today, there is a third company. They came to see me Thursday or Friday last week. It's another tax credit project. This one is for seniors or for 55 and over. That's not senior anymore. And so it will probably be on the next council agenda, which is February the 8th. So just watch for that.
I just want to ask, is it the same location?
It is, no, it's farther to the west.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. It's Sunrise, yeah.
Okay.
Where
Anyway, it's on the next agenda, so we'll discuss it with the next one. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Well, it will be a public hearing and voted probably at that time.
We'll do it.
Depends on which way you want to put it on.
Well, I might as well
I
just.
said we do it the same way.
I say we do it.
So people can have an opportunity to.
All right.
Talk about it.
Good enough. Thank you. I'm going to give a second break for people who are leaving.
Outvoted. Well, you should have gotten up.
Oh, no, they'll come back. There's too much money. We need to push to the Go to the west side. Pull me in, I'll say the same thing. Go to the west side. We've got, if we want people to grow and have opportunities, why don't we have the right to have that too? Why do they say, well, we gotta go there?
All right, we're going to restart the meeting again, please. If I can please have order here. Item number 17 is approve a professional service agreement with Garver USA to provide the professional engineering services for conceptual design of city wastewater treatment facility rehab. I'm going to let Mr. Godwin explain the item, and then Mr. Plata has done some study on it, so I'm going to ask for his comments first. So Mr. Godwin first.
Okay, well, just very quickly, this is, of course, we've been talking about this for over 2.5 years.
Excuse me, sir, can we please have order over here? Yes.
And, well, for about 4 years, I guess, off and on, before I got here. But for the last 2.5 years, we've been specifically going through the process of identifying an engineer. And we'll talk about that a little bit, and that's kind of all we have. This is a budgeted item, and we are to the point where we need to begin this. As I mentioned in the budget memo, to put it in perspective, and this is a very long-term project. It's not like if it breaks next Thursday, we can build one next week. This is a project that's going to take several years from beginning to end. So each time we put it off, we're putting that inevitable off. So it's not something that we have to have this year or even next year, but it's something we need to start really, really soon.
All yours.
Mayor, City Council, I'm here before you tonight to bring up the need for wastewater treatment plant rehabilitation. You've seen me up here many times before, and you're probably growing tired of seeing me come up here and say that we have the need, but here I am again. Before I introduce Mr. Jeff Sober with Garver USA, just have a few quick comments that I want to make. Some points that I want to attempt to reinforce with you. Of course, it goes without saying, the need has been identified that we do need to complete rehabilitation of our treatment facilities on Highway 271. And I'd like to point out again, with each passing year, we're going to see operational and maintenance costs continue to rise due to the age of the plant alone. So tonight, we're going to be before you asking you to approve a professional engineering services agreement between the City of Paris and the engineering firm team of Garver USA, Freese and Nichols, and Hayter Engineering. And one main point I want to stress to you is that we've really extensively researched this team of Garver, Freese and Nichols, and Hayter. We submitted or advertised for qualifications back in September of 2013. Those were direct mail to engineering firms all over the nation. We also advertised, and then when we received those qualifications back, we extensively reviewed each of those that submitted their qualifications for review. Following in-house review, we also invited these firms to come in and conduct one-on-one interviews along with presentations by the evaluation team. Those were detailed questions and they were very lengthy. So again, I want to stress we've done the research here. We've done the evaluation. One other main thing I want to point out, besides the project managers of each firm, we also had the opportunity to meet with each firm's engineering team, their entire engineering team. That was from electrical engineers, process engineers, administrative personnel, financial personnel, and we had that opportunity to discuss at length what their qualifications were for a project of this nature. Even more important, the wastewater superintendent and myself toured a number of facilities across the United States during the whole evaluation process. And that spanned from California to Iowa, Texas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. And during these site visits, we got to discuss one-on-one with the actual staff of these facilities that were designed by each of the firms that we're considering. So before I introduce Jeff, I want you to be confident in the work that we have done and performed on your behalf and on behalf of the citizens of Paris. We're comfortable and confident in our selection and are excited about what the team of Garver USA, Freese and Nichols, and Hayter can bring to the City of Paris. So without any more delay, I'm going to introduce Jeff Sober.
Thank you, Doug. Like that's my team to come with me. Thank you. All right. Dr. Hashmi, Council, thank you again for the opportunity to be in front of you tonight to talk about the engineering services for your wastewater treatment plant. My name is Jeff Sober. I'm a vice president with Garver, and Garver is the consulting engineering firm that is leading this effort that's been selected by the City of Paris to provide you those services. Also with me tonight is Mr. Michael Graves, another executive with Garver representing our board of directors. I also have Mr. David Jackson, a partner with Freese and Nichols, and Mr. Reeves Hayter with Hayter Engineering. This team has come together over the last 2.5 years, bringing the experience of Freese and Nichols with over 125 years of experience doing water and wastewater treatment plants across Texas, and the experience of Hayter with the local and historical knowledge of the City of Paris and the wastewater treatment plant, as well as Garver, to bring you the team that we felt like was best to help the city solve the challenges at the wastewater treatment plant. So what I'd like to do in the next few minutes together is just remind you where we've been over the last two and a half years, what we've done, and where we need to go. So on the screen in front of you, you'll see this timeline. And this timeline starts back in 2013, as Mr. Harris mentioned, when engineering firm selections began. So in September of 2013, our firm responded to a request for qualifications, and we delivered that in October of 2014. 4 firms delivered that, in fact. In November, that review team that Mr. Harris mentioned, including himself, the city engineer, the city manager, and the wastewater treatment plant superintendent, started evaluating all the qualifications of those firms. In December of 2013, the evaluation team selected 3 firms for further, more detailed evaluation based off of the proposals that had been put together. The final selection was a very transparent process that occurred over the year of 2014. Starting in April of 2014, each firm's made presentations to that 4-person evaluation team of the city. Throughout that summer, those wastewater treatment plant visits were conducted, as mentioned by Mr. Harris, where they got a really good chance to have hands-on experience with the operations and maintenance staff of various wastewater treatment plants that had been designed by all the firms, which is a really good indication of the level of service and quality delivered by the various firms. Coming out of that, in October of 2014, the evaluations were completed by that selection team put together by the City of Paris employees, and our team, led by Garver, that's Garver, Friesen, Nichols, and Hayter, received a notification of selection from the city. In November of 2014, a memorandum of understanding was put together between the City of Paris. It was executed by the city manager, and this memorandum of understanding indicated that we had been selected based on our qualifications, and that the City of Paris intended to execute a contract with us as soon as the council would approve. In doing so with that MOU, on our side, we agreed to move forward without a contract to assist the city in finding funding opportunities with the Texas Water Development Board for the City of Paris. So we began in December of 2014 meeting with Texas Water Development Board on your behalf. We made trips down to Austin to learn about the funding opportunities, worked with your staff to identify funding opportunities that would be beneficial to the City of Paris to pay for potential improvements for the wastewater treatment plant. That takes us to 2015, where we began work on your funding applications. In January, we were introduced to the council. So a year ago this month, I had the opportunity and pleasure to stand in front of you, discuss my team's qualifications, discuss the experience that we brought, and what we intended to do to assist you with your wastewater treatment plant project. In February of 2015, we submitted 2 applications on your behalf to the Texas Water Development Board for funding. In August of 2015, we participated in the visit by one of the directors of Texas Water Development Board, Ms. Kathleen Jackson. You might remember there was a neat visit to both the water and wastewater treatment plants scheduled. There was a dinner at the Chamber of Commerce, and there was more discussion about the need for improvements at the wastewater treatment plant and how we could work with Texas Water Development Board to fund them. In October of 2015, we had negotiated a scope and fee with your staff, and that scope and fee, or that fee, was put into the fiscal year 2015-2016 budget. And I also had the opportunity to stand in front of you at that meeting and present to you as well, again, on the process and our qualifications. In November of 2015, we received the good news from the Texas Water Development Board that they had accepted one of the funding applications, that City of Paris was approved for funding through the Texas Water Development Board, and that we could proceed with the funding application. So in this past December in 2015, Garver, on your behalf, working with your staff, began to put together that funding application, the final application, to the Texas Water Development Board. Which brings us to 2016. Now in 2016, we continue to represent you and proceed with your funding request through the Texas Water Development Board, and we're awaiting a contract to begin work. So we've already last month, or this month in January, we've attended workshops with your staff on your behalf. We're here tonight for the approval of our conceptual design services, and next month we're scheduled to be back in Austin to complete the funding application in a workshop with Texas Water Development Board. So the logical next step, and what we're here to discuss tonight, is the conceptual design. That is the professional services agreement that's in front of you for consideration tonight. I'd like to show you where we're at in this process. Together, our team, the Garver team, and the City of Paris, we've made a significant progress in the project overall roadmap to the end of this project. You can see over the last 2.5 years together, we've battled the RFQ, we've been through the interview process, the selection process, we've presented in front of council, we've worked on your funding application, and now we've secured that funding request. The next logical step is to move to the conceptual design phase, and then there's subsequent phases after that. So I'd like to take a second to remind you what the value of the conceptual design phase is. During conceptual design, we'll work alongside you to develop various cost savings alternatives. This is really when our team of engineers dig into the facility and identify what the actual needs are. We do this by conducting extensive field investigations with discipline-specific engineers, structural, process, electrical, mechanical, civil, instrumentation engineers, identifying what parts of the facility need to be replaced or repaired or can be maintained into the future. We also review your process data, how the facility's been operating, and we use that data to project flows to the wastewater treatment plant and what the phasing might be for the wastewater treatment plant. During this process, we work alongside TCEQ to identify potential variances and also to plan for future regulatory requirements. Out of that conceptual design process, we come back to you to present options and alternatives for the wastewater treatment plant. Then you, as a council, will make those decisions with the information we arm you with on what to do next in the process. Some of those questions that we've heard from you along the way are exactly what we are going to answer when you authorize our conceptual design agreement. These are some of the key project parameters that the conceptual design phase allows us to answer. One of the questions I've heard along this way is, do we really need to redo the entire wastewater treatment plant? And the answer is most likely no. We'll learn that when we do our field investigations, and we'll answer questions such as, what facilities can be maintained? Within your wastewater treatment plant, there's dozens of individual process units, some of these that can be maintained, some of them that can be reused, some of them that need no work, some of them need to be replaced. So we'll determine what needs to be maintained, what can be rehabbed, and what needs to be replaced. We'll also determine how we can phase these improvements. We understand that there's many needs at the facility, and right now we only want to address what absolutely needs to be addressed to make the facility continue to operate successfully. So we'll work on phasing it to defer capital expenditure into the future. One of the biggest questions we'll answer is, how will the facility meet future regulations? We know that the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, TCEQ, is pending total phosphorus and ammonia regulations, more stringent ammonia regulations in your permit. And the existing facility cannot meet the proposed permits that are being discussed by the state. And so as part of our design, we will look at how and what needs are at the facility to meet those future permit regulations that are coming in the next few years. And then finally, the question that everyone wants to know is, what is this going to cost? What we're going to do is develop multiple alternatives for you to review, and we'll come to you with options on how to repair or maintain the facility, and those will have explicit cost information on what it will cost to construct those improvements. And with that information, you will have the information you need as a council to make an appropriate decision on the future of wastewater treatment at the City of Paris. So I appreciate the opportunity to be with you today and to introduce the rest of my team, and we look forward to continuing to work for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pilata?
Well, I know you asked me to say what I have looked at this one time when I was on council last time. We would look at the water, we looked at the wastewater treatment plant and stuff, and I've said before, you've heard me, I said, at this time, I just don't see why Paris needs to spend that kind of money. That's me. I'm only giving you my opinions. But I've been out there, I've looked at it, I give you I have to agree with Doug. It's old. It's old. There's some, and I'm in maintenance, and I know the maintenance work, things break down, and you have to, sometimes just make stuff to make it work again. I understand that, but the city of Paris is not growing. That's what I got out of it. It's not growing. And several years ago, the city put in like $5 million into it to do some rehab, and now we're going to pour some more money into it. And to me, at this time, I mean, we're buying fire trucks. We got this big water sewer we're doing, which is millions. And now you're going to ask us to do this, which you've already budgeted this, $320,000, if I'm correct. But we know that this is going to be into the millions again. To me, I don't know. I'll let everybody else. I'll let people make up their mind. And I know it's old. I agree. I agree with that. That's just my take on it. To me, ourselves out there, we fix things instead of buying new. And at this point in time, I don't see why we have to spend to make it new. Whenever we're old, right now will get us by. That's me.
Ms. Lancaster?
Not all of that plant is old. We have worked on it for years, so there are parts that are older than other parts. When I was there visiting, it appeared to be well-run, old, but well-run, and that is an awful lot of money for us to be spending at this time when we have an awful lot of other things going on. I'm hesitant to say we need to proceed with it.
Mr. Pickle?
I just remember the old Fram commercial, either pay you now or pay you later, and it's going to cost a lot more. It will just continue to escalate to the point that we're going to get down the road and look back and go, why didn't we do this when we had the chance? Because we have continued to push it down the road. And I don't mean for the past 2 years, I mean for the past 20 years. And this is, again, this is an investment so that we can decide what's the best way to replace, rejuvenate, refocus. We don't know what we're going to spend yet. We only know we're going to spend $320,000. And I remember when we originally looked at this deal, when I was on council 6-7 years ago, we were talking about $45 million back then. I get a feeling that they're not considering that kind of an investment in this, that they are, because that was basically starting from scratch. And these guys, based on the presentations, are going to look at what we've got, what we can improve on, what we can repair, what we need to replace, things like that. And I just think that this money is well spent today. We had budgeted it to let us know what we've got out there and what is the best for the citizens of Paris moving forward.
Mr. Jenkins?
I'm not opposed to it, and I think it's a pretty good idea. And I see like they're going through everything step by step, and I'd like to see more information as you go.
I have some concerns, and I agree on the one hand with Mr. Pickle that I think pushing it down the road doesn't help the situation. But by the same token, we have done some other studies. Mr. Hayter has done some other studies on the plant before. One first question that I have is the effluent that we have right now, does it meet the TCEQ guidelines at present? Or are we out of compliance on it?
No, we're in compliance.
Okay. So if that is the case, till such time that I think we have some idea of funding, and I know you said that till you study, you won't have the funding idea, but I don't think personally that we are anywhere close to funding even a $10 or $20 million project at this time. And so I appreciate your services, and I think you've done a good job for the time you've done it, but I'm not sure whether at this point I want to go ahead with it. I have some concerns about it, that we will do another study, we'll be another 3 years down, we wouldn't have funded it, and then we are back to square one doing yet another study. So I'm opposed to it.
I tend to agree with Mr. Plata. $320,000 for another study. How many studies have we done on this in the past?
Quite a few.
I mean, do we have any idea?
I just know of one that I know of that Mr. Hayter had done. But other than that, I'm not sure how many we have done. If somebody else can assist with that answer.
There's been a number.
I'm not sure how many studies have been done. I mean, I think at some point we need to do it, but I think, and I'm not trying to push it down the road personally, but we have issues with our streets. We have not even finished, I mean, we have not finished our water and sewer bond project that has made people happy. We're concerned about that, and to go back to people now and say we're going to spend $10 million on a sewer treatment plant, I think we are going to meet a lot of resistance. And I don't see the point of spending $300 or whatever, even if it's $100,000 on something that we are not sure that we'll be able to fund.
Can I ask a couple of questions again?
Sure.
What was the timeline? Was there a timeline on here of how long the next processes take?
Yes, Councilmember Pickle. The next process that we're talking about tonight is conceptual design, which is anywhere from a 6 to a 9 month process, followed by a design process, which is roughly 2 years. And then from there you go into bidding and construction. So even if you were to decide tonight that you needed to make changes at your wastewater treatment plant, you'd be looking at almost 5 years before those changes were actually implemented.
So we will spend $320,000 for something that really is going to be spread over 5 years.
Over 9 months.
Okay, so then once we get to that, then the design and whatever is an additional expense after this
Yes,
first
sir.
9 months.
The value of the conceptual design phase is to identify exactly what's necessary and phase it. So you can also consider it a master plan for your wastewater treatment plant, so that you have the roadmap you need to understand when you need to make the investments into it. The decision may not be to invest everything right away. It may be you need to do this in 2020, this in 2025. It gives you a roadmap to appropriately make those decisions wisely. And if I may be able to address a little bit more of Mr. Plata's concern and Mrs. Lancaster's concerns. On this next slide, I'll show you here that previous studies have shown that the existing facility is in need of regulatory and process improvements. And I want to discuss those in a little bit more detail just right here on this slide, because it's important to note that the wastewater treatment plant includes dozens of processes and buildings. And what we know today is not that you need a brand new wastewater treatment plant. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is allow us to assist you and your staff in investigating those needs so that you can plan when you need that money and what you need. And just to give an example, this is one potential iteration that we've developed through our preliminary phasing of what improvements might look like, and it shows you how much of the wastewater treatment plant could be reused. And I'll point out a couple key things on here. Currently, your facility does not have screening or grit removal in operation, which is required by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality in their Chapter 217 rules. Their facility doesn't have that and doesn't comply with those, so part of the initial plan would be to identify what size those facilities need to be to meet regulations and be that part of that first phase.
So what happens now that we're not meeting that? Are we subject to fines?
Pending an investigation or a random check by TCEQ, which they do every so often, it could be a notice of violation. It's a potential area for a notice of violation.
Okay.
Another example is you have existing secondary clarifiers. They were designed many, many years ago. They're not best available technology, and they cannot handle the permit limits that are being proposed and discussed by the TCEQ. It's expected that either in this immediate permit cycle or the next permit cycle, that you would receive potential total phosphorus regulations for the facility. Currently, the facility is not required to remove phosphorus out of the effluent. In the future, and this is occurring across Texas, wastewater treatment plants are being required to remove phosphorus. If your facility received a phosphorus limit, it could not meet those requirements today. So brand new clarifiers to meet those requirements would be required. You do have an existing disinfection system which consists of chlorine. This system is in decent shape and can be repurposed and reused, not a significant capital investment here. So this is an example of an area of the facility that we believe, after further evaluation, can be reused. There is a need on site for new aeration basins. This is the heart of the process, and this is needed because, again, those pending limits for more stringent ammonia and more future phosphorus permit would require new aeration basins to meet those limits. That would be required. There are existing contact basins that are quite old, but previous studies have shown that those contact basins can be reused and repurposed, and we would evaluate doing that as well. Again, this defers capital expenses at the facility. And finally, I'll point out the solids processing. There's many parts of the solids processing part of the facility that could also be repurposed and reused. And that's what our evaluation is going to do. It's a detailed evaluation to identify exactly what we can reuse, what we can't, and give you phasing so that you can plan your improvements for the next 20 years for your wastewater treatment plant.
I have a Mr. Harris, Mr. Sober is pointing out what is the current problem where we can be fined on? That's what I want to know.
Yes, the facility currently does not have grit removal or screening in operation.
Is that a current requirement?
TCEQ Chapter 217 would require the facility to have.
So it is a current requirement?
It is a current requirement for modifications.
So why do we not have it? If it's a requirement, why do we not have it?
That is a cost factor itself. That has been put before council for a request for capital funding request for a grit and screenings removal system.
And what was the cost?
Mike, do you remember what that was estimated at?
It's $3 to $4 million.
Okay, and the council didn't approve it?
That was before I was director, Mayor Hashmi.
Okay, so it's been a while, and so it has persisted for however many years you've been here?
Or before.
Prior to that, correct.
Okay, and we have not been fined so far for that?
No, sir, we haven't.
Okay, all right. Personally, I would fix that where we are going to be fined, but again, I appreciate the input, but personally, I'm not going to favor this. I still think that things which are very important should be corrected, but the thing about it is, and particularly if we know that the grid needs to be replaced and we don't have it, or that should be done, but I just don't think that I'm quite ready. I'd rather do the streets first, but anyway, that's
my question is, again, how do we know what we need, what we don't need, or when we can do it, when we can't?
Yeah, we don't know that. The answer to your question is we don't know it, but we have not known it for the last so many years that Mr. Harris has been here. If it waits another year, I don't know.
It's Russian roulette.
Yeah. And we may be making a bad decision, and we may end up with a fine, but you know what? We've taken a chance for that many years. Another year is not going to make it or break it. This is just personally what I feel. Mr. Plata, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, well, let me just make sure I think I know I heard Edwin ask, but I would want to make sure and ask again. The $320,000 is just for you guys to go out there and look at everything and figure out what we need. It's not for any kind of design.
That's a great question, and thanks for allowing me the opportunity to clarify. I want to clarify that this next phase that we're calling conceptual design is not a study. We in fact do initial design. It is part of the design process. And what we do is we develop preliminary design drawings, actual drawings of improvements with process flow diagrams and preliminary specifications, which allows us to get into that higher level of cost estimating to develop a true project cost. So it is a design phase, which then gets built upon if needed. Why we call it conceptual design is because we want to come back to you with options so that you can then choose where you need or don't need to spend the money.
So will you do, if you do this, we spend the 320,000, when you get through, you will come and have it laid out what you think we need, drawings of it. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Preliminary drawings and process flow diagrams of those improvements. Yes, sir.
What will the cost of the final design be? Any estimate for that?
Without knowing what's actually needed at the facility, it would be impossible to give a cost.
Talking $1 million, $2 million? What are we talking?
Again, Dr. Clifford, I wish I could answer that question, but we might be able to find small improvements necessary at the facility, which defer capital expenses and therefore a large engineering project, or we might find major improvements that are necessary. So that's something we would develop out of conceptual design for your consideration.
Can I ask
yes,
a couple
please,
more?
please.
Okay. The TW.
TCEQ.
No, not TCQ. The TW.
DB.
Texas Water. TWDB. They have approved this project. What does that mean?
What that means is back in 2014, we submitted a project information form stating the need of the project and what the need of the project was. And after their review of that, they identified and agreed that there was a need for spending money at the City of Paris's wastewater treatment plant. And that's why they then, in November of this year, sent us a message that we had qualified to go to the next round to actually submit an application for that funding.
Which, if we apply for funding, then we have the potential for having some of this paid for through grants possibly, or through low interest bonds or something like that. Is that right?
Yes, the majority of the funding through Texas Water Development Board is low interest loans.
Mm-hmm.
They do have some grant programs.
Okay. If we blow this off and don't do anything for the next year, do we lose that window?
We would lose our place on their list, yes. They've agreed that the city needs the money to invest into their wastewater treatment plant and have put us on their implementation list.
Okay, so they've looked at it and believe. Sorry.
And I would like to point out that if you get through conceptual design and you decide not to move forward with improvements at that point, it is no obligation. You're not locked into using their money should you not want to. But if we don't move forward, we lose that spot and would have to redo that work again, which has been the past year and a half.
Mm-hmm. So there's some possibility to get some of these funds as grants. Possibilities.
Yes, they do have grant programs that will continue to investigate as well, should we proceed.
Okay.
On the chance that my motion is going to fail, I'm going to make a motion not to approve this professional service agreement.
Mayor, if I may just make a few additional comments.
I have a motion. I'm going to ask for a second. If it fails, discussion.
I want to say something. Like,
Please.
Dr. Hashmi, you know, I don't see the need and stuff, but I know it's old stuff, like I said, but we have already budgeted at $320,000. So I kind of think we see what they come up with, see what they say we really need. You know, I kind of want to just see what they say we need, since we already budgeted the money for it. But as far as going forward with it, I don't know. You know, anything that's going into millions of dollars in I don't know after that. But I just say that I'm kind of thinking that it won't hurt anything to see what they come up with
And I completely understand what you're saying, and I understand the fact that a year has gone by. But the thing is, I just feel that we have too many other things which are important projects going on, and I know we have budgeted the money, but I don't see in sight that I'm going to go and ask the people to approve a bond for doing our sewer treatment plant right now. And as such,
But this is something you'll approve, you're talking about 5 years down the road before we're ready to do that, right?
and that
At
if,
least-
if that is the case, it doesn't solve the problem of your grid. Which, if
No,
this
but
is an acute problem that should be solved now, not 5 years from now. Actually, without discussing any further, I understand, but that's my motion. If it fails, but that's just the way I feel. Mr. Harris, you wanted to make a comment.
The first comment, Mayor Hashmi, is that I listened to every question and comment that you made, and I sincerely appreciate that. Councilman Plata, one thing I would like to point out is, just as maintenance at Kimberly-Clark, you've at least got two ways to approach things. You can be proactive in your maintenance, or you can be reactive. Now, personally, from my position, I want to be on the proactive side. I don't want to have to react, especially when you deal with a regulatory agency that has the ability to come in and issue severe fines. Yeah, I want to be on the opposite side of that, and that's why I'm here before you. Have been here before you so many times before. I want to start making the plan to get ahead of this rather than reacting, because the older this plant gets, the opportunities, the risk that are associated with something catastrophic happening and us being unable to meet permit, it increases exponentially. So that's why I'm here tonight. And as a maintenance individual, you understand there's more than one way to approach things. And
I understand exactly what you're saying. I do.
Anyway, I have a motion and a second. I'm going to ask for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposing? For it?
For?
No, wait. No,
All in favor of my motion?
your motion is.
My
not
motion
to do-
is to deny the
to not
professional
do-
service
To not
agreement.
do the services.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm in favor of not doing the service agreement. Okay. Mr. Jenkins, how did you vote? Not doing it or doing it?
Not doing it.
Okay. So
Wait, you're voting to not do it?
Not do it.
4-2.
Not if we got other things going.
Second was Mr. Dr. Clifford. The four who voted against the professional agreement as me, Ms. Lancaster, Mr. Jenkins, and Mr. Clifford.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 18, discuss revision to animal control ordinance and provide direction to staff. There is one thing that I'd like to quickly point out. If we can please bring that on the next council meeting, the grid part, so that we have a little better understanding of that. Item 18, discuss revision to the animal control ordinance and provide direction to the staff. Mr. Hunley.
Mayor, thank you, council. Here a while back, the manager brought up the fact that our animal control ordinance had not been revised or looked at until back into the 70s. And he provided us a template that Ms. Harris, myself, our animal control folks all kind of went through, and we did make some changes. And you have about a 17, 18-page document there, and I know that's a lot of reading. So what I've tried to do is highlight the major changes, and I think the major changes that y'all were most interested in. First and foremost, the problem with dangerous dogs and how we react to that is that we're going to go along and just rely primarily on state law, not even have a city ordinance regarding that. State law would supersede us anyway, and it provides a opportunity. Not only it takes away what we were referring to as the first bite is free type situation, to just a dog being aggressive can be dealt with. The next thing we did is we involved more complete and easier to understand definitions throughout the code. We also put in some considerations for animals that were specifically not in the present city ordinance. And there's several there, but the main one I think that we've had, not necessarily issues with, but lots of questions, is that there are people that have pot-bellied pigs as pets. And of course, a pig's a pig, it's a swine, and so there's an outright ban of it inside the city. And there are some people that really like those animals. So that's in there. We continue our very important partnership with Lamar County Humane Association and other rescue groups to where the association helps pay for spay and neuters, get animals adopted out. We also move a lot of animals through them, through other rescue organizations throughout the United States. And so that's still there. And we simplified the language regarding livestock. We're kind of a rural area, we're a rural community. We have a lot of people that keep large livestock inside the city limits. And we had a kind of a way to calculate acreage per animals. And I'll have to be very honest with you that even when somebody came up and said, can I have 2 horses on an acre of land, we had to sit down and go through there and try to make sure that we knew what we was talking about. And so we have simplified that a whole lot. And so those are the major changes that we went through. The addition of animals, the cleaning up the language, making it a little bit more understandable, easier definitions. And the main thing, of course, was the aggressive dog or the dangerous dog issue.
Instead of asking, going name by name, does anyone have any questions of Mr. Huntley?
Can you address how it's going to change on the dangerous or aggressive dog?
The main thing is it pretty much eliminates the first bite. At one time, in fact, one time the state law had in there that if the first bite took place in an enclosure that belonged to the dog, so to speak, that you couldn't really count that. And that's gone away. That if a dog bites or if a dog distributes aggressive behavior, it's...
All right. An officer or someone entering an enclosure, that's that dog's territory. It may be aggressive in order to protect. How do you address that?
It'd be kind of a case-by-case basis, or...
Ms. Lancaster, the way the state law is structured on that, to be a dangerous dog, this attack has to occur outside of its own enclosure.
Oh,
that
okay.
enclosure is reasonably designed to keep the dog in.
Because I have a dog that if you came in my backyard would
Right.
probably
And the
eat
state
you
law
alive.
recognizes that, and that's how we've been proceeding, is under the state law. It's a little different if it's an attack that causes serious
Serious
bodily
bodily
injury
injury.
or death. The procedures are a little bit different, but yes, the law does take into account whether or not that animal was in his own backyard.
Okay.
I have no questions. I'd go along with whatever the city attorney and you think is advisable on this matter.
Okay. The main thing is it addresses that issue that took place with our postmaster. I think it addresses it fine.
Yes, Ms. Lancaster.
Does it address animals on leash or a loose dog with somebody?
There's no difference that an animal has to be on a leash. A dog has to be on a leash if it's not in an enclosure.
Good.
And what did you say happened to them if they did attack somebody?
They'd be in violation of the ordinance and or the state law. And there's really more civil type penalties involved where you have to, the animal control people have to actually okay the enclosure that the dog's going to be kept in. There's a certain amount of insurance that they have to have, which most insurance companies will not issue. I wish Matt was here so you could talk about that part. I think it's like, what, $100,000?
$100,000.
Something like that. And so there's a lot of steps that usually indicate to the person that it's better to move the dog or do something with the dog instead of trying to go to make it comply with the Dangerous Dog Act.
Well, say this is a Chihuahua in a backyard. How would you address that? Because they can be quite aggressive.
They can be very aggressive, but I don't think it'd be an unusual occurrence for them to get to the level of serious bodily injury.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
I've seen some bad chihuahuas in my time.
Yes, I've seen some bad chihuahuas.
But what you're actually saying is, y'all, if that stuff gets imposed, insurance, all that, but really, if the person that's got attacked feels like something they have to follow, they have to do that themselves. In
No,
court.
actually, animal control, we go out and we make contact with them and tell them, this dog's been deemed to be a dangerous dog, and these are the steps that you have to take. Now, if there's other situations where the dog's caused serious bodily injury or, God forbid, a death or something like that, then there's also other criminal charges that can be filed against the owner of the animal.
And in that case as well, the state law provides that you can move straight to a hearing on destruction of that animal if there's serious bodily injury or the death of a person. We don't mess around with the insurance requirements and all of that, all of those things. And we have done that here in the city before. We've gone to a destruction hearing.
Okay.
So, any other things from the council members? If not, then I'll say, take the liberty of telling Mr. Hundley to proceed with it and bring it back as an ordinance.
Yes, sure will. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Item number 19 is discussed in an annexation request received from 36 Northeast Street property owners as follows. K. White, 2325 36 Northeast, George William Bill Madding, 2225 36 Northeast, Wildred and Donna Hargis, 2245 36 Northeast, Terry and Sandra Fitzgerald, 2335 36 Northeast, Greg Wynn, 2235 36 Northeast, William and Lindsay Toms, 2425 36 Northeast. Before we go, I do have a question on this. Do we know why are they requesting this annexation?
Most of the applications discuss the lack of city services.
And which city service is lacking?
On the 36th Northeast, I believe that's water. On the 79.
Well, that we're not on 79, we're on item 19, so 36
Yeah.
Northeast. So
They-
city, they don't have city water?
They have water, they do not have sewer, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
they don't have sewer,
I
okay.
misspoke.
All right. Mr. Dr. Clifford, you want to say something?
My feeling's always been if the city annexes somebody, they ought to have reasonable plans to give them city services. And if an extended period of time has passed and they have not got the services and there's no plans to get them the services, which is frequently the case, especially, I tend to support this annexation.
I'll say that if we are not going to provide them services, I'd support this annexation, but I think we have, 36 is right off of 195, right?
Right.
And I think we should provide services. If they don't have sewer, then the city is responsible for providing the sewer, and I would favor providing the sewer. But anyway, Mr. Pickle, I'll let you address in just a second.
Do they have water or not?
You have water, no sewer.
Okay, you have city water.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you don't have one?
But we don't,
But we can't.
we don't
do
have anything to do
that.
with natural gas. Right. But you don't pay for sewer, right?
Actually, can we do it like this, that I'll give you a chance to come and speak?
Okay.
So, do you have any other questions?
Well, my question was, they do have water, so they pay for water. They don't have sewer, but they don't pay for sewer.
Okay.
So they're not paying for any services they're not getting.
Okay. I'm going to give you a chance. Let's just the council hear this first, and then Mr. Pilato.
Can I, nobody here, I don't know, you may know, how many years have they been annexed into the city?
Long time.
Since 97, I believe.
97. That's all.
Mr. Jenkins?
I don't know why they want to be disannexed if they're getting us water, but they're not paying for the sewer.
Okay. All right, we'll get to here. Give us just a second, please. Let us go in order, and I'll give you a chance to speak. Ms. Lancaster?
I've always said, if you're going to be annexed in the city, you should get city services.
And before I call them, I'll say that the city should make a very conscious effort. If they've been without sewer for the last 17 years, we need to make a proposal to give them sewer this year, or at least have an approval process done. Having said that, whoever wants to speak, please come on.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. My name is Bill Madding. I live at 222536 Northeast. Bought the property about 16 years ago and began building on my house. Been living in the house about over 15 years now. And at the time we were annexed, or at the time I bought the property, I spoke with the real estate person, and I also spoke with my council member at that time, and they said we would be receiving sewer service. Sewer service from the city was part of the, the things that we should get when we're being annexed. Okay, that was 16, 17 years. Some of these people have been there longer than I have.
28.
But we do have everyone that's listed on the list here except one, and he couldn't be here.
Let me ask you one other question. Supposing if the city was to come back and say that, okay, we will make a conscious effort and plan to get you sewer, would that be acceptable? Not just to you, but I want to ask all of those who are sitting here. That will be acceptable to all of you? Okay, so instead of going through this, can we ask the city manager to...
I've got some other items.
Yeah, you go ahead and say that, okay. Whatever. But Mr. Godwin, you think we can come back?
We'll find out.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay. One of the other items that is the drainage. Now, the ditch that runs, we don't have curb and gutter, the ditch that runs in front of our properties, all of our properties, the city is supposed to maintain it. They have not maintained it. I have probably, in the 15 years I've been in the house, spent $10,000 bringing dirt into my place and leveling the yard and bringing sod in that keeps washing down in the ditch because they don't maintain it. When I bought the property, I talked with the city manager, city engineer at that time, which was Mr. Smith, Earl Smith, I believe his name was. Okay, he came out to my property, we looked at it, and I said, how can we remedy this? Because it all comes down to my place, backs up, it gets into my yard. When it comes back out, it pulls all my topsoil out, fills the ditch back up, which makes it just go further out. He said the only way you can fix this process is go straight down 36th Street, all the way down, and dump that water into Brownwood. And I said, okay. And he said, well, my time is up. I'm leaving in like a few months or something like that. You need to take this up with somebody else. Well, when he left and his interim came along, I called him. He came out there. I asked him, how do we do this? He said, the only way you can do this is clean this ditch all the way out down to 36th Street, dump it into Brownwood. I said, okay. That was 15 years ago, all right? So several years ago, they came out there, dug up the street right by my house, and put a double culvert under the street to take the water over to where the golf course is. And they said, once we get it over there, it'll drain straight down there and go down the other side, down to Brownwood, 36th Street. All it did was block everything up. I've got water standing in my yard right now. What was it, a week ago when it rained? It's standing in my yard, not only in the ditch. These other property owners is standing the ditch. The city, and I've offered to either take my own personal money, and I said, could I just clean the ditch out? I will hire a contractor to clean this ditch out all the way down to 36th Street, all the way down 36th Street and let it drain to where it should be. No, no, no. I got one of the city engineers called me out on that. No, that's our property. We maintained it. You hire somebody out there, you're going to get in real big trouble. So what am I left with? And I mean, when it rains, when we get these hard rains or these rains that last a long time, it backs all the way up into my yard, and when it comes out, it pulls every bit of my soil right back out.
Mr. Madding, can you give us a chance and let us just review this? You've burned it for 15, 16 years. Can you give us a couple of council meetings and let's see what the city manager can come back at and reevaluate, and then we'll come back or call you for a meeting and discuss it and see what can be offered.
Anything will make progress.
Okay, we'll try our best, and that's to all of you.
Thank you.
We'll sincerely give it the best shot. All right, so.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Sandra Fitzgerald, 2335 Northeast 36. Janice, I also applied for 2330, which is across the street. It is county water. They have no services whatsoever, and they're into the city. They were taken in. We would like to have that piece of property also de-annexed.
No, go ahead.
If I can make one more comment. I think when we were annexed, there was a law coming into effect that said you couldn't do it the way they were doing it at that time. And I think it was a rush to justice. The council annexed us, they did people on 79, they did people on Cobb, they did people out by the airport. They just annexed everything they possibly could because they said, there's a ruling coming to where we can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And they just, I think it was a rush to judging, and they just outdid themselves. There's no way in the world that they're going to be able to take care of and maintain this stuff that they've annexed. I'll give you an opportunity.
Mr. Manning, I'll only tell you one thing. People at the airport road had the same problem. We first tried to see if we sincerely put in an all effort to get the sewer to them. We were unable to do it, and then we de-annexed them. So give us a little bit of time. Let us give it a sincere try. And then if we are unsuccessful, we'll call you back and we'll sit down and talk. Hopefully it will not take you 16 years this time. I think the council has been very proactive on these things, and we'll try our best to address it in the next meeting or two.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to leave that item as 19 for you to bring something back to the council, please. Item number 20 is discuss disannexation. Request received from FM 79 property owners, Terry and Dedra Dollars, Peter and Lisa Zakaris, Jesse Tucker, and Obi McQueen. If I'm pronouncing the names wrong, I apologize for that. Stacy and Sheila Pendergraft, Ronald Dockery, Carolyn Peterson, Arthur Joyce Lee, and Carol Diggs, FM 79. Can you orient me just a little bit to this, please?
79 is, this is north, west of Duluth.
It's,
okay.
Yeah.
Where the new file?
It's, right, 19th goes straight to the lake,
Yeah.
and this is the one that curves off to the west side of the lake.
Okay, all right.
Could I say something about 79? This was brought up before because they didn't have sewer. It's in my district. I talked to a lot of people out there, and some of them have contacted me. We had discussions about this, and I was instructed that there wasn't enough volume of sewage out there, and that until there was a major development out there, they might not be able to do that. That's what I was told. And or it would be so prohibitively expensive that they weren't had no plans whatsoever to give them sewer.
Is this going to create an island?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Can we look at that and answer that question at some point, if it creates an island or not? But otherwise, I think the same applies to them as to everybody else, that either we provide the service or we, help their situation out.
And I think, like Dr. Clifford said, I think this one is a lot more like the airport where you could do it, but it's just not practical because of the number of customers. So it's probably going to be an easier one to.
Okay, all right. So we'll bring
them both back.
Okay. Are you people? Yes, please go ahead. Yeah, please.
My name is Deidre Dollins. I live at 3356 FM 79. And the reason that we're wanting to be disannexed, our area, my neighbors and myself, we were annexed in 2000. So we've been paying taxes for 15 years to the city of Paris, and we have not had any service. Not only do we not have sewage, but we do not have city water either. And I know that they say that, you say that you offer us trash, but that's trash service with a fee. So not only are we paying taxes, but, it's not offered as a free service for us. I mean, we have to pay for the trash pickup if we.
Well, we all pay for the
picked up.
trash, though. We all do pay for trash.
Right. But I mean, we can pay for trash, we can get trash service. We don't have to have the city of Paris. Most all of us have trash service through someone else. So we don't need that.
All right.
And the only other only other thing that we were offered was having protections, from the city of Paris, the Paris Police Department, which in our area, we feel that the Sheriff's Police Department is just as sufficient as the Paris City, Paris Police Department. So we're happy if we were, serviced by the Sheriff's Department. And also we can pay for whatever trash service that we need. And also, like I say, we just feel that it's just not justified for us to stay in the city of Paris because we're paying taxes for services that we do not have. And myself, we've invested about $7,000 in new septic tanks and sewage system for our home. So we do not want the sewage. We do not want the city of Paris sewage. We do not want the water. We're happy with Lamar County water and with our septic tanks and our sewage systems that we have.
All right, good enough.
And so.
We're going to bring it back.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ronald Dockray. I've been out on 79 for 41 years. And like Deidre said, you know, we don't have anything, and we just like to move the sign back where it was, the city limit sign, because, you know, it's been a long time. We don't have any city services, so we just like to be out. All the other neighbors are here too. I don't think they want to come up. But
Sir, I can't hear you at all.
I said all the other neighbors are here also, but I don't think they want to come up. But we just like to
That's fine.
get out.
Thank you very much. Item number 20.
One more.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
I'm Joyce Lay. My husband and I have lived and owned property on 79 right at 50 years. 20 years ago, about 17 years ago in 2000, they annexed us. They did not ask us, no permission. They came and annexed us. We do not have any services. We have been there nearly 50 years. We do not have any services at all. Our taxes are astronomical. My husband and I are on a fixed income. He's retired. And it is behooving to y'all to meet the needs of some of the seniors out there that are in dire straits just to pay taxes. We pay city taxes, we pay county taxes, we pay Paris Junior College taxes, and we pay Paris High School taxes. Now, I'll grant you, my children went to Paris Junior College. That helped. But I'm asking you to de-annex us because we do not have any services at all. Gratefully, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, item number 21, discuss and act on lighting policy for the plaza. Mr. Gardner?
Very quickly, we have the plaza down there. People like, it's kind of become a thing here the last couple of years, people like to have us swap out the bulbs, the big fixtures, and to light the plaza different colors. We've done pink and blue and green and different colors for different causes, all of which are worthy. Two concerns. One is we're starting to get overlapping requests, and we don't want to keep anybody mad. And the other biggest concern I have is that those are old fixtures, and taking them off, putting them on, taking them off, that's just not good business. So if we want to continue to let people put lights out there, we suggest adopting a policy where they have to go through a process and be told yes or no by somebody besides me. And that it'd be putting spotlights up, some sort of spotlight. And maybe it's just 1 week or 2 weeks as opposed to for a whole month. That's all I have.
Mr. Pickle?
Do you have maroon light bulbs?
I'm sure if you could get 4 votes on the council, we could find some.
That's not happening.
Get you anyway. Give me 2.
We do have some orange ones in stock.
No thanks. So you mean y'all will go physically
Yeah, they do.
change out light bulbs?
And we
They
don't,
do.
now, people provide the bulbs, but yes, we have people go out there and take them off and put them on, and we've been nice, and that's what we like to do, but we need to stop doing it before we break something.
Dr. Clifford?
Well, one of these hits me directly. They always turn it pink at October for breast cancer awareness. I was pleased to see that the #1 reason was supporting public awareness campaign that has the potential to enhance public health or wellness. So I think it's a good policy.
Mr. Plata?
I'm agreeing with Mr. Godwin myself. They need, I agree with it, I don't mind it, but I don't think the city employees need to be doing that.
Mr. Jenkins? I agree. Okay, I like the fact, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute.
I thought you were going to not say anything, that's why I
No,
moved
I'm
on.
going to say something.
Go ahead.
I think having the spots is a much better idea than doing anything with the old fountain.
Yeah, it worries me a lot.
Mhm. Spots would be much easier.
I like the idea of changing colors. So I'm all in favor. I think awareness is most important, because even when you suddenly come in and you see red or green or pink or whatever, it gives you an idea and it reminds you of the awareness. So I think I'm all in favor of awareness. If it is difficult to change those light bulbs, then we need to put spot lamps. Then, I mean, if somebody wants to do it, why is it not that we have spot lamps there, we install new spot lamps, 4 or 5 spot lamps that can change color. I mean, we don't need any fancy lights these days. We have those, what do you call those?
LED.
LEDs.
Yeah.
And they're powerful enough that we ourselves install it, and whatever, it's not going to be a big cost. And just say that, okay, well, when it's pink, when it's green. So, and whoever puts in the request first gets to it. Now, instead of a month, I have no objection to changing it for 2 weeks. But I think for people to, yes, 1 second, for people to bring spot lamps of their own and put them up, I think that's asking for trouble.
Yeah, no.
I think it's just easy enough to put some LED lamps and be done. Ms. Mosley, do you have a comment? Mike, please.
You presented me with the proclamation of breast cancer awareness, and that's been going on, I think, for about 4 years now. I was told that Bill LaRange was supposed to change the light bulbs, so nobody touched the fountain. And that's very important to the women who have died, women who've had breast cancer. I'm very emotional about this, and I do respect the fountain. It's a very old fountain, but I provide the light bulbs. Bill LaRange goes out there and changes it, and it's brought a lot of awareness to breast cancer awareness. Thank you.
Ms. Mosley, before you go, I do have a question. If the lights were there, whatever color is needed for that time, is it okay from your perspective, if as long as the color is there, does it matter what exactly, where the lights are? I mean, do they have to have
I would not have a problem with the floodlights. I would
Yeah.
not have a problem with that, as
Okay.
long as it was pink
Mhm.
and that it was on the fountain. That's what I fought for a
Okay.
year.
Yes.
I fought a year for that,
All
and
right.
you remember that.
Yeah, that's one of the obvious ones. I mean, that's not one we would ever turn down.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
if we can just check the pricing of how much it's going to cost to put LED
I
lights.
think it's $320,000, I'm not sure.
Keep changing the light bulbs.
I've been providing those light bulbs, and
Most
they're
of these
very hard to
LEDs
find. I don't know if I can get floodlights that are breast cancer awareness of Susan B.
I think
Komen.
The LED lights are very bright and they can equally brighten it up, or brighter.
Most of the
But I would
LEDs
not have
you
a
can
problem with
select the
that, but to
color.
remove the lights, I do have a problem with it.
Yeah, and we're not trying to do that. No,
Okay.
no,
All
we're
right,
not,
thank you.
not talking about that at all.
A lot of the LEDs are any color you want. They're
Yeah,
Yes.
they are.
Yeah.
It's just a button you push.
Yeah, and we've even got some lights, new lights that we're installing in the fountain itself, and it may take care of the problem. The problem that we had when they came in about 2 months ago was that the white ones were really pink, and so.
And I have another solution too if you run into problems. I have a bunch of LED lights which will completely change the colors. If you want them, you can try them and see if it
Okay,
works.
okay.
He just wants them back at Christmas.
No, I don't. You can, donation to the city, you can have it. I mean, they really are professional lights,
Yeah.
which I've used before.
Okay.
If you want to try them and see how it looks.
Okay, we'll figure it
perfectly
out.
fine. And you can change them to any color you want to. All right. So you're going to come back with some suggestions on that? Okay, sounds good. Received status report from the police chief about activities in the police department. I'm the one who asked Mr. Godwin to put it on. And the reason for that was a couple of reasons. Number one, Mr. Hundley, when we were going through the budget process, had made some promises, and we just want to remind him and see what is an update on that. Besides the fact that I think all council members and Mr. Hundley have been getting some emails about all sorts of statistics, and I want a clarification of those.
Okay.
Brief, Mr. Pickle has to go for a football game.
No, there's no football, nothing tonight.
Oh, it's finished?
Yeah, it's just,
Basketball.
I'm just here as long as y'all want. My wife's
All
out there,
right.
here I am.
Keep going.
It's okay if I'm still brief though, right? Okay. First and foremost, the original question that brought us all together back in June and then again in July was retention of police officers. We were losing officers right and left. And I'd love to tell you that, we haven't lost anybody since budget. The officers were very appreciative of the $3,000 a year increase. I think that was a morale boost. And I want to make sure that y'all are aware that we had 2 officers. One that had gone to Wiley, and the other one had gone to Prosper. 2 agencies over in Dallas-Fort Worth area make considerably more than what we make, growing departments. And when they heard that we got that increase and they heard that we were doing the bilingual pay, both of those guys came back to the police department. And what that means for us is by hiring those 2 guys is I think we had one in training for maybe 2 weeks, the other one maybe 2.5, 3 weeks before we were sure that they were knew what we were doing then, no big changes they had left. And so it saved us about 9 months per officer, 18 months of salary by getting those 2 guys back. So, just right off the bat, we had that take place. Also that has taken place is that we have not lost anybody since July. We've had people that we had hired and had been in the police academy. They came out of the academy. They went through the field training program. They've made it through that. And so we got extra bodies in uniform patrol. What that allowed us to do was address one of the things that we were all concerned about, and that was drugs. And we have increased CID by 2 positions. We moved one guy from CID over to the Office of Professional Standards. Lieutenant Barry, Lieutenant McLean, and Officer Josh Crawford both went into CID, and that was effective January 1. And I think that we've already seen some increase in drug search warrants and drug arrests just in the very short time that those guys have been there. So the fact of keeping officers, because that's what it comes down to, is our staffing. Patrol, we staff patrol according to historical load of calls, because we want to be able to respond when somebody calls, number one. Number two, when officers respond to calls, I've got to have enough troops there that they're going to be safe as well. And so it all comes back down to staffing, and the more we keep staffing level, the better off we are. We're full. We have no openings for police officers in the city of Paris right now. But that doesn't mean we're operationally full. I've still got 3 guys that are in a basic police academy over in Collin County. We've got 2 guys going through field training, and I've still got 2 guys that are on injury-related leave time. So we're much better than what we were, but we're still not where we want to be. So I think we're going to improve in that area pretty quickly. The next thing that we talked about was off-duty work, and we went through several different manners of letting the guys sign up for off-duty work. Each one of them had their good points, each one of them had their bad points. So what we settled on is we're still going to go by seniority, because as I explained to you when we were here back in July, everything about personnel in the city police department, in any city police department that is a civil service department, is based on seniority. But now what we did do is we limited the number of jobs that the senior people could sign for. And so what that does is push more opportunities down. It didn't make any difference what we tried. There were good points and bad points. If we let the senior guys just get what they want, then the guys in the middle and the guys that hadn't been there very long didn't get what they thought they wanted. If we reverse it and go to the newer guys, they get what they want, but then the old heads and the middle guys. And then no matter what you do, kind of in the middle of the pack, they still don't get what they were wanting or needing. And that's the reason why we went through the deal of limiting it down to they can sign for 2 positions, and then it moves on down through the ranks. As far as quarterly statistics and activity reports, we've been giving y'all those when we have them. We're finishing up the end of the year. They'll probably be on your next agenda packet. For the past 4 years, we've had decreases in crime, total crime. We've had decreases in call load, but this year we had a decrease in call load, but our crime decrease was only about 2.3%. The other years we've been averaging around 4% each year, but this year it was only 2.3%. So that's improving, but not near as quick as what we wanted to. Our present makeup and officers of 60 officers, we have 4 Hispanics, we have 2 African American males, 1 African American female, and I'm sorry to say that's the entire minority part of the police department. We still do active recruitment through our local community leaders. We have attended in the past, we've gone to colleges, we've gone to job fairs, and we just don't fare well when we have other police departments there. If you put our people in a booth in between Dallas PD on one side and Fort Worth PD on the other side, we're just not going to get, any recruits out of that. Most of the people that we're able to attract are somebody that has some kind of root here, or the unfortunate reality that we're trying to stop is that somebody's wants to get their foot in the door, get some training, and move on. Okay. The next thing we've done as far as improving morale is that what we had been doing in the past years is we had a centralized training officer for the department. And we sent this guy to all kinds of schools where he was a driving instructor, he was a use of force instructor, chemical munition instructor, and all that type of thing. What we've done in the past 6 months is that we've segmented that out to we have some guys who have already attended driving school. We've had some guys that are attending use of force school, firearm school. And so what we're doing is trying to make our own cadre of instructors within the department, and that gives these guys a little bit more opportunity to get out, get actually better training, and then they're coming back in and giving it to their peers there in the department. And I think these have all been positive. I think they've been well received by the officers. I think there's more interest in the department than maybe what there was, 6 months ago, and we're looking to further that information on. So that's where we're at. We've increased our people working on drugs. We've increased our minority representation, although very, very small. And so those things that we have definitely worked on.
Thank you. Mr. Huntley, there was a discussion about creation of a drug task force. Where do we stand with that?
We do not have a drug task force per se. What we do have is the sheriff's office investigators, our investigators, and when Reno can, their investigators. If you've noticed any of the stuff that's coming out in the newspaper about search warrants that are being served, you'll normally see that it's the sheriff's office and the police department doing it. So we don't have a separately funded drug task force. But what we have is all of our drug investigators work together.
Okay. And the second question is that there was a thought of doing a canine unit.
We've explored that, and again, it comes back to personnel. And we've had 4 dogs in the department since I've been here. The only one that, in my opinion, was successful was a dog that was assigned to the, at that time, drug task force, because that's all it did. The other 3 dogs, they tried to incorporate those into patrol activities where they were out there actually working patrol, answering calls, and then trying to do the drug work on the side. And in each one of those cases, I don't think we did it that well.
So why do we not adopt the way you were saying, which was successful?
I just need one more man.
Okay.
Because that's the issue, is that I'm going to have to pull somebody out of patrol or pull somebody out of CID, and they're going to be a full-time canine officer. And we have money. We can buy a drug dog tomorrow. But the problem is that if a drug dog is always going to be only as good as its handler. And if that officer and that dog don't mix, then we're not going to have an effective unit. And that means you really have to dedicate an officer to that and to nothing else.
And you had mentioned Crawford's name, that he is working with the drug or whatever.
Right.
Is he not somebody who would be interested in doing it?
I haven't discussed, he was more, anytime we have a lateral move in the department, we have a selection process that's done by our captains and other supervisors. It's not a deal that the chief thinks this guy's the best guy, or that guy's the best guy, or that's my buddy, or whatever. We go through a selection process. And the position that we had open at the time was a CID narcotics investigator, and that's what he wanted to do.
And that's why I'm asking, so if it's a narcotics position, would that not go along with that?
Well, it would, except we're wanting more investigators, and when you get a dog, that's a different type of narcotics investigation. It's going to be more of an interdiction type thing instead of getting out and buying dope. Sorry, that's the easiest way to say it.
All right. Mr. Pickle?
Two things. I think Sue has a Chihuahua. It's pretty fierce, evidently, that maybe you can look at getting.
I have another dog that's better.
Okay. But on a serious note, and I started to call you last week, but this came on the agenda, so I thought, well, this is a good time to address it or to mention it. I got a call last week from a state news agency that talked about the chase that went from here to Oklahoma and then back, and then the wreck on 82. And they just wanted me to pass along to you, as well as the city council, how impressed they were at the job that y'all did. And you knew when to shut it down, you knew who you were chasing, and you did everything right. And it was unfortunate that the car still had a wreck, but being able to just stop when you needed to stop, and knowing, trying not to cause any other interference or any damage or likelihood collisions or anything else, I think that says a lot. And so I just want to compliment you on the job that y'all did.
Thank you very much.
And the second?
Oh, that was the dog.
Oh, this, I guess I wasn't paying attention to.
Why am I not surprised?
Dr. Clifford?
No questions.
Mr. Pilata?
How long have y'all been doing the changing for off duty? The one you went to, the sign up for?
I think we've been in this, we did every one for 1 month. This was the last one that we tried, and I'm thinking that we probably in maybe our second month or third month of doing that.
Guys got pretty good with this? They like it?
I haven't heard any complaints yet.
Okay. I got you. I got you. I understand. All right. Thank you.
You bet.
Mr. Jenkins?
I have no questions. Appreciate your time.
I'm not going to forget you this time.
It's okay, I have nothing to say, but I will keep that Chihuahua under control.
We'll check on the Chihuahua.
Thank you, Mr. Hundley.
Thank you.
Did you give a commendation or something to the gentleman who Mr. Pickle is praising?
I really don't know what he said. I mean, who it was.
Oh, you didn't. Oh, you weren't hearing Mr.
No,
Pickle
I heard
either?
what he said.
No, you're talking about the police officer.
Yeah, I'm talking about the police officer.
Sergeant Mike Bankston is the one that called the pursuit.
Okay.
Now,
I mean, I think we should do something for the person if he has done such a good job.
I kissed him on his forehead. What are you talking about?
Oh God, I don't know whether he wanted that. Anyway, thank you so much.
Y'all.
Thank you.
Mr. Godwin, you don't have anything to say to Mr. Huntley, right?
No, sir, nothing at all.
Okay.
Mayor Hoshman, I just want to, can I ask a quick question?
It depends on what it is about.
Go back to 20 on the agenda. I feel like you never really said much about the disannexation on 79. I mean, are we going to put that to a vote tonight? Or are we going to have to wait?
It's not posted as an item to vote, but
Okay.
I think the general consensus here is that your situation is a little different from the other situation on 36th Street. And
Is that in favor of a disannexation?
it sounds like it. I don't
Yes?
want to make a commitment without
Okay.
the council saying it, but that's what it sounds like.
All right, that's great.
The thing which the lady said that was obviously her too, and we all want to help everyone out here.
All right, we appreciate that. Do you know like how much
As I said,
time
in
it
the
could
next
take
council
this
meeting.
time?
We'll have it on the agenda for February the 8th.
Okay.
Now, the way these things, the timing, I know you're in a hurry because you want it to happen and you've been wanting it to happen for a long time. it won't affect your taxes until next year, so the deadline
Well,
is
as
not until
long as it
September.
happens within
So,
the year would be
yeah,
just
yeah,
nice.
it has to happen before September.
So you think February the 8th and,
It'll be on the February 8th agenda.
okay, well, we'll be here. And you will cast a vote? Or-
Well,
or
I
you
can't
will-
speak for them, but it'll be on the
I mean,
agenda,
do you-
all things considered.
I'm not going to make a commitment, but your case was heard, and I can tell you due consideration will be given. I'll leave it at that, because I don't know how every council member is going to vote.
Okay, all right, well, I
But
appreciate
you'll
your
have
time.
some support here, I can tell you that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Item 23, consider and approve future events of city council or city staff pursuant to resolution number 2004-081.
This isn't an event, but we have a new city engineer I wanted to introduce to you if you haven't met her. Carla Easton is back there. There's Carla, that's our new city engineer. She's been here for a whole seven days. So. Didn't mean to put her on the spot.
Hello,
You
Mayor and
want to say
Council.
anything about yourself?
My name is Carla Easton, and I'm
Let me know.
I'm from Paris, born and raised, and been away for 15 years, and I'm happy to return and serve this community. So.
Wonderful. Welcome to the
Thank you.
department.
Can I ask you a question? Have you already moved back, or are you still driving?
I'll be driving until the end of the school year. We live in Allen, so I'll be driving till my kids are out of school for this semester.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm happy that you accepted the job.
Thank you.
All right. You broke the chair?
No, just leaning back.
You want to say something?
Hey, I'm not in a hurry. I'm fine. No football.
Can I make a motion to adjourn? I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I don't think you can make a motion, so I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Second? All in favor?
Aye.